artists, it's me, Mrs. P. Today I am in Galveston, Texas, in a little cottage by the ocean. Galveston is on the Gulf of Mexico. Another place that is on the Gulf of Mexico is the country of Mexico, where Diego Rivera is from. He is the famous muralist that we learned about in another video. Today, we're going to learn more about him. You will need your sketchbook and portfolio. Remember, if you don't have one, have your parents let me know. I've already had to send a few of them by mail or email, and that's totally fine. It's not a big deal. Just let me know if you need one. If you're not one of my students and you would like one of these, just see the description below. You'll also need a pencil with an eraser, and you may need a pencil sharpener. And then you will need coloring crayons or color pencils to color with, or you could use both. Go ahead and get your supplies and let's get started. Okay, artists, so we're gonna get started learning about Diego Rivera. This is one of his murals, or a part of one of his murals that he painted in San Francisco. You can find it in this book, Come Look With Me, Latin American Art by Kimberly Lane. So I'm going to read you what this book talks about for this part of the mural. But as I do that, I want you to look for our art element and our art principle. First, let's remember what a mural is. A mural is a painting that is painted right onto a wall. It could be an outside wall or an inside wall. It could be on a business or on a government building, a school, or a home. So a mural is a painting that is painted straight onto, that's right, a wall. Okay, so remember, our art element for today is space. Space is how everything in the picture is placed and how it's related to each other. So you can see here, this house is lower and it's bigger. So it appears closer to us in the space. This house is smaller and it's higher up on the page. So it appears further away from us in the space. So when you look at Diego Rivera, this part of his mural that we're going to look at, think about how he uses space. And our art principle that we're talking about today is unity. Now, unity is when people get along, but it's also seen in art when it shows how the art elements get along, how they work together to make the full picture, or maybe they don't really get along. Maybe the art elements, they look very confusing and they give us a feeling like something doesn't belong. So you want to look to see if Diego Rivera, if this part of his mural shows unity, or does it show anything that doesn't look quite right or doesn't quite fit in? Okay? And then our social emotional skill is relationship skills. Now, a relationship, what is that? If you have a relationship with someone, what does that mean? Well, a relationship is when you know someone. And you could have a teacher-student relationship with someone. You could have a family relationship with your mom, your dad, your brothers, sisters, grandma, grandpas. You could have a friendship with someone, like your friends at school or in the neighborhood. So relationships are different ways that we work with, get along with, and interact with other people. So we'll want to look at this mural and think about the relationships that we see here. Do they have relationship skills? Are they getting along? or are they fighting? If you're fighting, you don't really have good relationship skills. But if you're getting along and you're learning how to do things together, that means you have great relationship skills. So the book says, from the time he was 9 years old, Diego Rivera knew that he wanted to be an artist. While he was an art student, he studied the art of his own country, Mexico, before the Spanish invaded it in 16th century. Rivera was fascinated with the pre-Hispanic art of the Olmec Maya and Aztec peoples, and collecting their art became a lifelong passion for him. So pre-Hispanic means before people spoke Spanish. In 1907, Rivera traveled to Europe to study art. 3 years later, there was a revolution in his homeland. Rivera wanted to make artwork that would celebrate the lives of ordinary people and inspire them to fight against injustice. He wanted his art to be seen by everyone, not just the few who could afford to buy paintings. In Italy, Rivera had seen paintings done al fresco, that is, painted on the walls of buildings. What is that? That's a mural. While the plaster was still wet. Rivera wanted to create huge murals in public places to communicate his ideas. In 1921, he returned to Mexico, and the new president asked him and two other artists, David Alfaro Siqueiros and Jose Clemente Orozco, to create murals on public buildings. The three became known as Los Tres Grandes, and their work was called the Mexican Mural Movement. So these were the three most famous Mexican muralists. Diego Rivera was probably the most famous out of those three. This painting, so this one here, is a detail. That means a close-up little section of the mural. From a large mural that Rivera created in the United States in 1940. He called it Marriage of the Artistic Expression of the North and of the South on this continent. And in it, he showed scenes from North American history. The panel celebrates what many of the native peoples gave to their culture. So native, those are the people who were here very first. Near the bottom, Toltec artisans carve a large upright stone slab called a stela. The Toltec were one nation of native people. Behind them, a woman weaves on a loom. Near her, others decorate a sculpture. Farther back, dancers and musicians perform a sacred deer dance, and a priest teaches to a ruling council. Great pyramids and cities stretch the mountains on the horizon. So on the horizon is really far back in the space. And you see all these people working together. They must have had really good relationship skills. Near the end of his life, Rivera built a museum to house his collection of the artwork of Mexico's native ancestors. Diego Rivera created paintings celebrating the lives, ideas, and works of the people of Mexico. His museum was his final gift to them. So you can see that Diego Rivera, he really cared about his people, especially the native people of Mexico. So we're gonna go into our sketchbook and portfolio now and do our art project. And remember, Diego Rivera was at the back of the book. So we're gonna go to the very last page. This page is the social emotional skill, art element, and principle for space, unity, and relationship skills. And the directions say, design a mural for your community in the box below. Think about how you will use your relationship skills to pick a team to help you. So Diego Rivera, he didn't paint those murals all by himself. He had people help him because they were huge murals. Murals take a lot of work. You know, Mr. P and I, we work together on our murals because it's a lot of work. And sometimes we have our friends help us too. You're gonna have to think about how will you get along with the people that you picked to help you with your mural? How will you solve any problems that could come up? So when Mr. P and I, when we paint murals, sometimes we come into problems like, oh wow, this wall is a lot bumpier than we thought. What are we gonna do? How are we gonna get the paint on there and make it look really nice? Lots of different problems can happen. Maybe the person who wanted us to paint the mural changes their mind about something. That means we have to repaint. What are we gonna do? How are we gonna handle it? So you need to think about those things when it comes to your mural. So you're gonna use this box here to design a mural for your community. You're gonna pick different people in your community, like your family, your friends, your teachers, the policemen, the firemen and women, the postal workers, who else? The people at the grocery store, all kinds of people in your community, and you're gonna give them different jobs. Maybe one person who will paint the background, will paint just one color, and they'll paint all the details on top. Maybe somebody tall could paint the background since they could reach up to the top, because remember, when things are further back, just like in our picture of the space, when things are further back, they're higher up. So you might need somebody tall to paint the background. That's what Mr. P and I do, because you know Mr. P is really tall, so he paints the high up parts, and I paint the down low parts. So you're gonna have to think about that. Maybe you have a friend who's really good at detail, like our friend Sarah is so good at detail. She has a lot of patience, so sometimes we hire her to paint all the little details. You're gonna have to think of those things. What are your friends good at? What are they not so good at? You want to give them a job at something that they really like to do and they're really good at. Okay? So you're gonna design your own mural, give jobs to everyone, and think about how are you gonna get along to make this mural great. I'll show you an example of my mural. I start with pencil first, so I have everything where I want it, and then I can go over it in colors. And I have different elements like the tree, the city, and the metro rail, and the sign. And some are in the back of this space, and some are up front in this space. And everything is in unity. It all works together, and I fill the whole page. So go ahead and get started. I cannot wait to see your murals. Bye.